We have here a 72 or 73 Fender Super Reverb. The date codes on the transformers are 71 and 72. Once I get inside, I may see if it's actually a 73 or maybe even a little bit later, but hopefully it's a 72. Original octal sockets, bear traps, original iron, original preamp sockets. Let's see what waits us underneath the doghouse cover. Okay, original filter caps. Let's get this to focus. Yeah, see, they're fighting the battle of the bulge. Yeah, these things want to catch on fire. They're ready to catch on fire. They just are waiting permission. We won't give it to them. Let's see what's on the inside. A whole lot of yikes there. Replaced bias cap, 200 microfarad. Way too much. You don't want to go that high on a bias. It takes a long time for it to charge up. You can have situations where the output tubes are drawing current before the bias is really ready for them, and that can lead to bad things. Got an original cap here, April 20th, 1972. That dates the amp pretty well. All the grounds made to chassis, the chassis and to the mounting hardware. In my experience, the weight of the transformers causes those to break or get unreliable. I'll be fixing that. The CBS era spaghetti, we'll be cleaning a lot of that up. We'll be taking these caps out here. These 2000 picofarad caps from grid to ground are there to fight oscillation. The oscillation is caused by the crappy lead dress in these things. So once I clean up the lead dress, those should not be necessary. And they do put a slight blanket on the sound. I'll be replacing the screen grids. I'll check the values of those grid stoppers. Rewire this power cable without the grounding circuit, ground polarity switch, and we'll do it to safety code. Let's go through here. Let's go ahead and look at this board since you saw it. It is covered in filth. So this is going to get a real nice bath. The issue is whether or not I need to remove all the components, take the board out, do top and bottom, or whether I can clean it with most of the components in place. I will find out once I pull the bottom board. That'll give me a better idea of what's going on. But, you know, in general, it is a 72 Fender Super Reverb with all this excess wire. I could probably get a foot or two of excess wire out of this amp. It's going to get all new cathode bypass caps. Let's take a look at the jacks and the pots. Okay. Let's see, get this to focus. Bear with me. I'm an amp tech, not a cinematographer. I'm not sure if it's visible on the camera, but where's my pointer? See if I can do this without pushing the wrong button and turning it off. That solder joint right there, where the two jacks go together, you can see that line in it? That's a broken solder joint. Now, it's still making connections because they're physically close to each other, but it's not going to be reliable. So I'll get all that straightened out. I'll reflow all solder joints as necessary. Make sure all the pots are clean, all the jack contacts are working right. Let me get a little bit of alcohol and some cloth, and we'll see how bad this board is in terms of whether it'll clean it pretty easily or not. Let's do this area right here. Let's get in there with some alcohol. And let me get a... Where's the thing I'm looking for? This will work. Good. A little screwdriver to work it underneath things. Let's see. Is this going to come right up? I predict this will be much easier than the owner suspected. He thought this was all mold. I think it's mostly just dirt. I could probably just pour some isopropyl alcohol over the whole thing and stand it up on one end and flush it all out. The issue with that is if I do it that way, if I flush it, if I stand it up like that, then all the dirt on the entire board will pool up down here. So I'll probably have to do it in sections And I'm not above some brute force on this. Let's see if I can do this left-handed. Just do that and get in there and work it around and see what happens, because that alcohol won't hurt any of this stuff, and it'll evaporate out. See how much of that stuff comes up with it. This will tell me a lot about whether I need to do anything heroic on this, which sadly does end up in a more expensive repair, or whether I can kind of work from the edges and make this thing come back to life without a massive bill. And it's already going to be a lot of stuff cleaning up the spaghetti wiring, which does result in a better sounding amp. This is going to sound beautiful. Sorry about that. Well, that's interesting. From what I can see here, it's not so much that there's stuff on the board, so much that, let me get this to focus better. It's not so much that there's stuff on the board, so much as the board just kind of grayed out. Get it wet, it darkens up, but then it dries back to that gray. Let's see if in this spot right here, a little bit of finger grease. There's no room to do the full elbow grease on that little area. Let's dry that off again. Yeah, I'm not thinking that's really a residue. I'm thinking that's just the board has become discolored over the years. I will know more soon when I put some tubes in. When I can put some tubes in and power it up. I can't do that until the filter cap's been changed out, because it's a fire hazard right now. But once I can get some voltage in here, I'll know whether this is really a problem or if it's just cosmetic. If it's just cosmetic and the amp is otherwise good, then no one sees the insides of amps, as long as it sounds right. So this will be interesting to see how it plays out. So I'm just going to start by getting the bill of materials of things I know it needs, which is mostly filter caps, bias caps, cathode bypass caps, screen grid resistors, dropping resistors, etc., etc. And we'll start there, and then we'll see how it sounds, what the voltages are like, and whether this board needs anything major, or if it's just going to be kind of a weird gray board. It'll at least clean up to that level compared to, say, that. This amp is almost as old as I am. We're both a little bit gray.